If you're anything like me, you know what it's like to have that drive to make something and not be able to. You have passions and dreams, and yet they feel so unattainable. And yet, we dream anyways. I am not a game designer. Well, I guess I wasn't. I mean, I almost am. Well, I am. Maybe? If you're looking for a confident, slick look at game design and what it takes to release a game on Steam, you're probably in the wrong place. I think the internet is full of real cool guides. People giving you strong, confident advice, all of which sounds very good. And I'm sure you can find that elsewhere. But for me, right now, I wanted to tell you about how I got to the point of releasing a demo on Steam. I do want to share a couple pieces of advice as someone who had no experience. And if you stick around to the end, I'll even share some of my stats from 1 week. And that's exciting. Let's talk about releasing a demo. Oh, quick note, this will be a little different than my normal videos, but I still have some art going on in the background. These are characters from the game, Kinder Finders, that I'm releasing a demo for. Yeah, we'll take a look at a few of those characters being made while we do our normal game time, dad joke, bad joke, and our art gallery. The story of Art by Sutherland, the game designer. Art, I think, is the original source of this, I suppose. And really, art is a drive towards making things that make me happy, and by extension, make other people happy. I often tell people on YouTube and on live streams that I draw dumb pictures for people on the internet, and it's true, but it's probably more complicated than that. You know, I found art amidst my own tragedies. It was a refuge from painful seasons of my life. And the drive to make gave me something. A small hope. A tiny hope in that season. That drive, that hope that it gave me is what led me to share, to make videos, to have these live streams, to put out content. I really wanted to share that long, arduous process of making things. And honestly, if you haven't been here since the beginning, you may not realize that I was a bad video maker. I might still be, but I was a bad sculptor. That's where I started, and a pretty bad drawer. And I'm pretty sure I was bad at a lot of things, but I longed to share what made me happy, what brought me happiness in this dark time of my life. And that journey for telling the story of how we got to video games, that led me to my one true love creatively. And it's not video games, it's board games of all things. I would design board games for fun. I've done this for many years as a casual hobby. And, you know, one of the things you realize after doing that for a long time is that making a board game is both expensive and then conversely hard to sell. And that really sucks. If you're anything like me, you know what it's like to have that drive to make something and not be able to. You have passions and dreams, and yet they feel so unattainable. And yet we dream anyways. And that was it. And after a numerous amount of board games, of ideas, of things, something clicked. Artist, game lover, digital art, a video game. Why not make a video game? And so we embarked on a journey. And let me tell you how we did it. It's game time speed draw. That's right, I've drawn an image, and it's up to you to guess it. This week, our theme is Marvel. Can you guess who this is? I only gave myself a minute to draw it. Good luck. So how did I make a game? I just did. I think that's the best way to describe it. I had a bit of a leg up I think to be fair, when I was learning, I heard from somebody that making a video game is 50% coding and 50% art. And as an artist coming into this, that meant that I was 50% done. Obviously, I had to draw pictures, I had to do the work of an artist, but I didn't have to learn that part. Obviously, I learned it at some point, but when I came to a video game, I was starting with a leg up. That said, I also knew almost next to nothing about the actual physical, practical process of making a game. And so I learned. I didn't have a course. I didn't pay out any money because the internet's full of information. I just went about looking for information. I watched YouTube, I read articles, and it was work, right? The internet is full of free resources, but the alignment of free and quality does not always come easy. Sometimes things look good, but are not helpful. Some things are helpful, but they're hard to find. And so, yeah, it was work. And really, it was random. It was a difficult thing to parse through. I started with the GMTK, Game Maker's Toolkit. I watched their tutorial on making a game in Unity, and I followed it. I learned how to make the little Flappy Bird game that they have there, and it's great. I learned a lot about coding and the ideas, and then as I kept going, I found myself immediately overwhelmed by the complexity of Unity. My brain wasn't there. I didn't understand, and I was lost and hitting my head against a wall. And so I looked for an alternative, and I found Godot. It's an open source system that looked like it met my needs and operated on a level that I could understand a little bit better. I was often told that Godot was subpar and not quite as good as the other engines, and that might be true. But again, I know nothing about this. And so it was enough for my brain to understand it and make it work. And that to me feels like enough. So again, I watched tutorials and I read articles. When it came to tutorials, I found the first one I watched was Bracky's How to Make a Video Game Godot Beginner Tutorial. It's in the title, and it taught me a whole bunch of things. And so I started making my game, this click and find adventure, had ideas of how that might work, and I made a bad version of it. And then I made a better version of it. I drew pictures, I coded, I ruined it, I made it better, I watched tutorials when I was lost, I did intense Google searches when I didn't know what to do, and eventually we arrived here with a game demo on Steam and an actual game coming out in a few months. It's not a great description of my journey. It might not even be all that informative, but I think it is instructive to see the journey in its truth. That it was awkward, weird, disappointing, great, helpful, lost, confused, on a track, off a track kind of thing. And I think, truth be told, that's the game. That's all of making. It's never confidence on confidence. It's never a simple, easy path. But let's talk about that in a second. It's time for the dad joke, bad joke. That's right, my dad sends me a joke every single day. I collect them up to give them back to you. And today our joke is as follows. How did the student feel when he learned about electricity? How did the student feel when he learned about electricity? Totally shocked. How did the student feel when he learned about electricity? Totally shocked. It's the dad joke, bad joke. Let's get back to the art. So when I was thinking about this video and about making a game and what I would say to somebody who was asking me about this process, I thought of two pieces of advice. They're not advice that is going to give you clear direction in every way or solve all of your problems. I think they are essential truths that you can wrap your head around and will ultimately help you move forward in making a game or making whatever you want to make and learn how to do. So the first one's this. It's not as hard as it seems, but it's definitely hard. Let's just take that at face value for a second. It's not as hard as it seems. So if I was to go back in time and talk to me from earlier last year, I would be crossing a chasm of information that I've learned, of barriers I've come up upon, that I've had to work through, that I've struggled through, that I've thought through, that I've made something of. And the other version of me who's back in 2024 he has no idea the journey he's about to be on. And that version of me was scared, was honestly worried that I would spend hours and energy making a thing that would fall apart, that would never go anywhere. And when you're looking at that chasm, that gap between the end and the beginning, there's going to be a part of you that looks at it and says, that's too hard. But I don't think it is. It's not as hard as it seems. The other side of that is that it is difficult. That there will be times in your process of learning a new thing, of trying to draw something for the first time, code something for the first time, where you're going to get it wrong. And worst of all, especially in coding, you're going to get it wrong and you're not going to know why. And you're going to hit that wall and you're going to have to push through it somehow. And that is difficult. Plain and simple difficult. But when you get over that wall, I can tell you from my experience, when you get over that wall, it might just be the best feeling in the world. But yeah, it's not as hard as it seems. It's possible to do, but it is still very hard. The second thing, and I think this is more useful advice, which is this: make and learn and then keep going. Make and learn and then keep going. There is a tendency, I think, in most people to look at a new thing, a new project, a new talent, a new hobby, a new profession, whatever it might be. And when you look at it, you say, I need to be complete in order to do. I need proper knowledge in order to act. Now, in some avenues of life, that's true, right? If you're going to be a professional medical doctor, let's do training first, then do surgery. But when it comes to hobbies like art, game making, design, whatever it might be, these are actually skills that you can safely make and try and do. And through the process of doing, you can learn. And so, yeah, I would encourage you to start making a thing. It doesn't have to be the thing you want to make. It could be like the GMTK tutorial, it teaches you Flappy Bird. Bracky Godot tutorial taught me how to make a simple platformer. And I made a point and click seek and find game. I made Digital Where's Waldo. And those things don't generally overlap in concept, except in the foundations. And in making those other projects, I learned a whole bunch. And then as I started making my project and I made mistakes and I messed it all up and got it all back and everything, I learned. And then I made some more and I made some more mistakes and made some more good things. And then I learned. And it was far easier to make and learn through that process than it ever would be to learn in hopes of making it someday. So yeah, my advice really is this: make and learn and keep going. Don't start once you have it all. Just get out there and start messing around. Break a few eggs, as they say. And yeah, I think you can do it. Welcome to the art gallery, my friends. This is the place where I love to share your art. We have a Discord called the Doodle Croodle. All you have to do is click the link down below, join the Doodle Croodle, and share your art. We'd love to see what you're doodle doing. We have a few pieces based on last week's video. We did Mario style swaps, and we have a few here. This is from Spooky James. That's right, they drew a Powerpuff Girls style Mario. I love the round softness of all the shapes. Fantastic and super cool. We also have from Nis this fantastic Futurama styled Mario. There really is like a Fry feel to this one. I think it turned out super fantastic. They also mentioned this is their first time trying to draw a cartoon in this way, and I think it turned out fantastic. I always love to hear when people are trying new things. A lot of bravery to do that, so thank you so much, Nis. I think it looks fantastic. We also have from our friend Lumpy, they also wanted to do a Simpsons version, but of course I had drawn a Mario Simpsons, so they decided to do Princess Peach from The Simpsons, and I gotta say, Peach has that Lisa vibe. It's perfection at its core. We really love it. Fantastic work. Like I said, if you want to share your art, all you have to do is join the Doodle Croodle. We're an art positive community here on the internet. We care mainly about the joy of creating, and we would love to see what you're working on. So join the Doodle Croodle. Show us what you can doodle do. Link down below. And with that, we arrive with some statistics about my demo release. I released it for free about a week ago, and I've achieved all of 30 downloads. Woo! What does that mean? Well, I think it means nothing, and I think it means everything to me. Truly, I think it means nothing because, we're sort of taught in the, the modern world that, business principles tell us, numbers are important, clicks and likes and views and downloads, and that's just not what this project really ultimately is. It's not a grand marketing strategy. It's not the perfect execution of theories of game design and the mathematically concrete coding of a super genius. It's Patrick, me, Art by Sutherland, an artist, an awkward content creator who's genuinely in it for the love of the game. So when we talk about numbers, let me tell you, who cares? But the numbers also mean everything to me. For all the reasons I just described, why I don't expect grand things from this game, the fact that 30 people chose to click and to download it is to me a miracle. They chose to download it, to explore it. They spent time, even if it's a short amount of time, looking at the thing I made. And this isn't me self-deprecating or patting my ego. It's genuinely special to me that anyone would bother to look at it. The world is full of things that gather our attention, and most of them are more interesting and better executed than mine. But there are a few people who choose to click. You presumably did. You end up here or over on the stream, and you made that choice. You're making my world that much bigger, I think. And in doing so, allow me to say, I'm honored. It means a lot. Thank you. Let's check out the characters we were drawing today in the background of our video. We'll be back to wrap things up. So yeah, I guess this is the point of the video where I say, rate my art. Well, actually, you can rate these lovely pictures of characters from a game. I suppose you could just download the demo and rate my demo. Leave me your comments down below. What did you think about what I had to say today? Was it helpful? Was it a waste of time? Did you like the art? What's your thoughts? We love to see it. We like to put comments here. I actually have one or two from this week. We have one from Anna3035, and it says, my rating is 10 out of 10. Thanks, Anna. Randomly got recommended this. I really enjoyed it. The whole video has such positive, fun vibes. And that's exactly what we're going for here. We also got from Nacelle, my favorite ones, Bert and Mario, 10 out of 10. Oh, the things those eyes must have seen, and I agree. If you haven't seen it, go check out that video. And yeah, rate my art. Put a comment down below. The best and the worst will be featured here. Also have a month-long sheet of inspirations. We run a theme for every week of things that you might want to draw to inspire you to draw. And this month, the theme has been Into the Unknown. We did Tabata last time, and I drew this lovely picture, sort of like Avenger Endgame inspired long shot of Captain America. I just wanted to see what that was like. It's not meant to be a perfect picture, and it's just a chance to try to draw and be inspired to draw something every single day. We wrap up the month with one more suggestion, and that's Victory and Glory, whatever that might be on our Into the Unknown. We did Heroes Depart, Villains Rise, To Battle, and Victory and Glory. Can't wait to see what you're working on. Drop in the Discord down below. With that, we've arrived at the end of today's video. If you stayed around at the end, I gotta say an extra special thank you. This is a long, rambly one where I'm trying to share a little bit about what I'm learning as I try new things. If you like this format, let me know. If you don't, also let me know. Look, till next time, keep being awesome. Bye!